Emily, Jade and Christo on 1029 Hot Tomato.
Joining us in the studio this morning, Bryan Brown and Rachel Ward. Yay!
Good morning.
Good morning. Is it really still morning?
Yes.
It's like early evening to me.
Well, I just want to say congratulations first. I'm the one of the team that has seen the movie and I haven't stopped raving about it.
You haven't. You've
Yeah.
been so great. Thank you.
I really
Yeah.
love it. I'm convincing this guy to go. Christo's a bit harder to crack with
No,
Aussie films.
He's not. Oh, I'm leaving now.
Oh, no.
He's not our market either.
No, thank you.
Go away.
No, but you, but you will be.
Yes, I will
You
be.
will
yes.
be. You know, so it's worthwhile having a look at this movie just to see how you're going to be at a certain stage and some of the things you're going to have to deal with, mate.
That's very true.
No, I know what you mean. I'm not with Aussie radio either.
I just want to say that she said that. I didn't say that.
Brian, I want to go backwards in time if I possibly can. Mate, Two Hands is one of my favourite films. I just think it was wonderful. And what was Heath Ledger like as a bloke? I would love to have met that bloke.
The thing about Heath is I think you can say he was a bloke. He was very straightforward, easygoing. He must have been only about 22 or 23 when we did that. Lovely. The open face that Heath has was his character. He was an open, honest, loved to smile, loved to love, loved music. It was just sad, it's terribly sad when I turned on the radio that morning. They said Heath had passed away.
Yeah,
You know who was very like it too? And I just saw the documentary Mystique was Michael Hutchins.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
like that.
All right. What would people say about you, Bryan Brown?
Fabulous.
Rachel, have you got some thoughts since you directed him?
Blank. No, he's good. He's annoying. Everybody loves him. He's been going in this industry for 40, 50, 60 years and he hasn't made an enemy.
Can we go back to day one on Palm Beach? How did it happen? How do you decide to direct the story? Who came to you with it? How did this movie actually happen?
We had this Christmas in Wales and
About 5 years ago.
about 5 years ago with some old friends of mine and we were having a good time and they were just their usual maniacs. And Brian at the end went, there's something going on there. That's these guys are in quicksand. You know, they're having a bit of an existential crisis here. And he was having a bit of one himself. So I think he, was extra attuned to them. And he went, I think there's something very universal going on here and people slipping into that probably the last quarter of life. And just that transition from being retrenched or retired or ill health or marital problems, just that final shift they were really struggling with. And Brian went, I think there's a movie there. And I went, really? You'll have to prove it. And then he came and said, how about you directing it?
And then Matilda, your daughter, is in it. And I can't help but sit next to you, Rachel, and just go, you have recreated yourself. And she's exactly like you.
Well, that's sort of what happens with birth.
Yeah.
I know.
Like you do create.
She shaved her hair off 3 weeks before we were set to go. She was
Was that
cast
meant
and
to
everything, and
happen?
then one day she just rocks up with no hair.
What?
And I'm like, what? Exactly. She's very disobedient and ornery and rebellious.
Oh, did you mention the word recreate?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
It's great to be here in the middle of a marriage crisis. And
That's what we made the movie about. That's
Yeah.
it's basically long-term marriages, still working it out,
Yeah.
still behaving like 14-year-olds, really.
Look, the interesting thing for me on that holiday we had was just how much fun we had. And just how much, like Rachel's known these people for ages and like massive, really close friendships and friendships go up and down, but the ones that are still there, there's something there, there's a reason why, whether it's you've revealed yourself so much to those people and they're still with you, so, you trust them always. But it was a really wonderful time. But underneath the bubbling of us, I mean, I'd gone through anxiety that year. I didn't know I had it. It had built up from something that had happened to me. And I was seeing a psychologist and coming through it. Another bloke had just sold his business and he was bumping into walls. These were all capable men and successful in their own way and with years in front of them. But right now they were in quicksand. And that was sort of what was underneath this wonderful time we were having. So it was like, okay, and then we went to see Exotic Marigold Hotel.
how good is it?
Great, fabulous. And I looked around the cinema and I went, my people. Everyone
Right.
there was over 50 years of age,
Yep.
and they were relating to those characters on screen. And in this way, this story of us, this is my age group. lot of life in us yet. I still surf. There's lots of things that you do, but there's a time of struggle in us to do with that time of a transition. And we wanted to talk about that in the movie.
And of course, it's not just the men. I mean, the fact that the men were going through these struggles, they had partners who were having to go through it as well because they were going through it, and they were having their own, their own continuing dramas, life dramas as you do. You can't afford them. But it was interesting, Joanna Murray-Smith, who was the other writer, and I getting involved because I think we were really teasing out, okay, well, where did the women sit in this? And why weren't they having the existential crisis at this point? And that's sort of what we discuss in the movie is that, women of our generation had much lower expectations. So the things that we achieved was, anything on to the top of, being a wife and a mother was gravy. But of course, these guys had set the bar very high, and a lot of them were underwhelmed by where they had actually found themselves.
Look, it is about friendship and family and music.
Yes.
The soundtrack that's in this movie. And the soundtrack's actually out now on CD.
And we were brilliant to get the Teskies involved.
I know how good are the
How
Teskey
good are the
brothers.
Teskey
You
brothers.
haven't
And they're
discovered
number
them.
one on the charts now.
Yes, they
So,
are. Their brand new
And they've
album.
done the score, and their songs are in there, and as is Otis Redding, Frank Sinatra, Renee Gayer, Easy Beats, Donovan. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Do you guys think you'll work together again in this sort of
No,
way?
never.
No, actually,
No sequel.
we were sure after the last time, after Beautiful Kate, that we wouldn't be. But somehow, somehow it happens.
Yes.
The movie is called Palm Beach. It's in cinemas. We've got Bryan Brown and Rachel Ward. Thank you very much for joining us. in
Thank
studio
you. Great
this
to be
morning.
here.
Thank you.
Good on you.
Thank you for letting us have the premiere, and thank you for
Yeah,
your
that
time.
was good.
It's a big highlight for us. Thank you.
Terrific.
Good on you.
1029 Hot Tomato.